All right, I want to get one more video in here before it gets too dark. I'm Justin Hitt from Prosperity Homestead. I want to clarify some things for folks, and I'm doing this by video so it's out in public because this information could be useful for you. When I mention paid consultations, I'm very busy. Actually, I work full-time, and I also do the projects, the environmental projects on the side. But when I say paid consultation, 100% of the proceeds from paid consultations actually goes to a local nonprofit. Now, I didn't want to publicize that on the website because I don't really want to press that on you because I charge a very high rate for a 15-minute consultation. And I, of course, do some work up front and make sure, you have a survey you have to complete. And then I try to answer the question the best I can. I have a number of books and reports that I put out for years. I put out these books and reports. But it's a model that I want to use. I'm building the model right now so that when I retire, I can actually have some residual income coming in. So I want to share that model with you because you might be confused why I'm always talking about Prosperity Homestead, the newsletter site, for example, the membership program and stuff. And I'm being transparent. There aren't that many people that do paid consultations. Usually they can send me an email, they can send me a fax or send me a letter, and I can do a video like what we're doing right now, and I can answer the questions they have, so they really don't have a need to do a paid consultation. I'm not looking for clients. I'm not trying to get consulting projects. But now when a consultation turns into a consulting project, I actually farm that out. So I get paid a finder's fee for giving that job to someone else. So for example, the forest mulcher that I featured in a number of videos, if you said to me, I need a forest mulcher in Virginia, I've got 2 or 3 forest mulchers that if I send a lead to them and you hire them, it doesn't cost you anything extra. I'm going to get $100, okay? Now the $100, where does the money go? See, that's the concern a lot of people have. They're like, you're all about the money. You only want to work with rich people. You're all about managing projects and design plans. And I do have a list for a design plan. I will create a design plan for you using the permaculture design certification that I have. But it's not like I'm doing that every week. And it's something that we can do over 3 or 4 weeks, and it doesn't take up my day. I have a day job, guys. But where does the money go? Well, some folks have been wondering, how am I paying for all this stuff? How do I get a forest mulcher down here for 2 days? Out of pocket. It costs money every day. And they come out here and do the work, and I pay them. They're not coming out for the video. And so while I haven't had a lot of income come from this particular newsletter and stuff, every dollar either goes to a charitable organization where you see that I volunteer, or it goes into equipment and materials to build the different things that we put in the videos. This is my passion. I enjoy helping people implement environmentally sound solutions and learn permaculture or natural farming. There's a couple variety of systems that, depending on your environment, work really well. So what is this model? Okay, so it's an expert model. I am a subject matter expert in a couple topics outside of my day job. And what I do is I write newsletters and articles, and I have email series, and I have special reports, and I package these things up, and of course the podcast as well, and the YouTube channel. I package this thing up in little bite-sized chunks, and then these bite-sized chunks are put together in a tutorial. So if someone comes along and says, hey, I want to hire you to do beneficial insect habitat, I would say to them, here's a survey, let's do a paid consultation, and I will apply that paid consultation to any project you do with me in the future. Okay, we do the paid consultation. Usually it answers their questions. There might be an action plan afterwards. And then they say, I'd like to hire you. Can you fly out to Texas? No, of course, I'm not going to fly out to Texas. In fact, even if they were in my backyard, I would refer them to someone else, because the truth about a land management project or a beneficial insect project or whatever, it's multiple day activities. Now, if they want to learn how something's done, very often there's like a local nonprofit that's already doing something. So Infinity Acres, Sustainable Homestead Institute, the local naturalist group. If they're already doing something like a beneficial insect habitat thing, I'll refer the individual to that project and they'll go. Now, I know you're saying, well, Justin, you could be making money doing this. Well, I have a day job that it takes a lot of attention and a lot of mental capacity to focus on that. And frankly, I'm a little tired after sitting at the desk, so I'd rather just work in my garden instead of working in somebody else's garden. But this model is building up myself as an expert in an industry. It's building up followers. Some of my newsletter subscribers have been with me for, I think I've been doing this for like 8 years now, 10 years now maybe. Definitely longer than 10 years, because I've got articles and stuff from the 90s that I've rewritten and stuff. Everything used to be written in an 8th grade reading level, and I've brought it to like a 5th grade reading level, because some of the audience is in India. Some of the audience is in Australia. I'm not going to Australia to do a project. You couldn't afford to have me come. I'd lose income at my job by going to someplace else. But when I'm 55, when I'm 65, when I'm older, I'm going to have a library of books and materials, just like the permaculture book. I can give somebody a book, and if they really want to hire me and I'm retired and I want to spend 2 weeks somewhere, I can fly out and spend 2 weeks somewhere. So again, this model is an expert model. So I am developing myself as an expert in a specific field. I read a lot of papers, I read a lot of materials, I go out and practice a lot. So that keeps me busy too. So I go to work all day, and then I think I put in almost 2,000 hours at a nonprofit a couple years ago. Every year it's about 1,000 to 2,000 hours at a nonprofit. I'm literally getting off of work, fixing dinner, and then going and working for 4 or 5 hours a couple times a week. Unless there's a medical thing, unless I've been having trouble with something, I might just go walk around. Maybe it's depending on the season. Sometimes I'll mow. I'll just use the flail mower or the other equipment. You've seen the videos. I take videos when I'm doing some of these things, but I'm not getting paid. In fact, it costs me money to go do that stuff. But again, it's out in the nature. I mentioned in another video about that relaxation that comes, that experience with nature, that touching and being one with the environment, and how that lowers cortisol levels, improves your respiratory system, improves your mental clarity and ability to think. It actually reduces stress. During the lockdowns, I wasn't able to go out and do what I usually do, or I went out there and I was like the only person working, because we were social distancing. We weren't having people in and out all the time together, or they were having family challenges. But I do agricultural work as a hobby, okay? Again, though, if you develop the years of that, if you write and publish, if you answer people's questions, if you interact with others who are in the industry doing that, I know several permaculture design consultants, you build this network. Now it's rare, but if somebody says, I want to hire me, I say, well, I'm busy and I'm working on these other projects, and ultimately there's no time, but here's 3 people you can call, and they'll be happy to work with you. And again, if you hire one of these people, it doesn't increase your costs, but they pay me like a marketing spiff, okay? So my newsletters, everything is setting up a few people who will pay me $100. Sometimes they just take me out to dinner. I referred somebody for mulch and stuff, and the guy was so happy that he got the mulch he needed. He said, can I take you to dinner? Took me to a country club. We sat down and had dinner. We talked a little bit about his farm, but I got a meal out of it. So again, when I'm 65, if I was working part-time and had more free time, this would be a business. So if I were to wait till I'm retired, and this is why I encourage you to start your homestead right now. Because if you wait till you retire, if you wait till you find the perfect piece of land, if you wait till the economy's right, if you wait till whatever, it's going to be too late. So what I'm doing is incrementally cultivating a hobby. Now I do have a business. There's actual structural business, because I have personal assistant from time to time. I have real estate. There's other things that happen that the business is the structure for it. I'm hearing a bug behind me. Got to look real quick. Don't want a bear sneaking up on me. So just to be transparent, there is an actual business that runs all this stuff. But it's more of a legal liability thing, because I'm giving advice about environment. If I ever did a video where I ate something and then somebody else ate it and it made them sick, I need to have the legal structure for protection like that. And then also book royalties. If you get book royalties from Amazon or something like that, which I don't get a whole lot, it goes to the business. I don't mean to ramble about this, but there is some crazy confusion about what it is that I'm doing. And some people freaked out in my workplace because I had all these environmental videos. They're literally sending money to that nonprofit because I log my volunteer hours. I don't log all of my volunteer hours, but I do log volunteer hours, and I'm there for my health. I'm actually doing these videos to improve my communication skills, kind of like Toastmasters. And then ultimately, I'm answering questions for free. Most of the time, if you ask a question in the comments below, I can give you a satisfactory answer for you to at least get started in what you do. I have a copy of that little paragraph or whatever I give you in a file on my computer, and then I add to it to make an article. And now I know because you asked, and there are no dumb questions, because the questions you have, somebody else is guaranteed to have that question. Now I can write an article for the newsletter that's based on your question. That's how it works. But again, I'm not sitting on thousands of dollars a month. I could not do this as a full-time job because, first off, I'm not physically fit enough to do it all the time. Forestry work is hard. Gardening is hard. Being a farmer is hard. But again, instead of going to the gym, I go out, work for a couple hours, and then when I'm cooling down, if you haven't noticed, I am soaking wet sweat. I do a couple videos. I highlight some of the great work that other folks are doing. I recently had the opportunity to visit a couple parks, and I did videos about like the Williamsburg Botanical Garden. I actually got kicked out of one place because I asked if I could do a video for my podcast, and they freaked out. It was an extremely nice arboretum, and I love going there. But unfortunately, instead of, I asked permission to videotape because I talk to myself when I do the video. But again, if you have any questions, if you're confused, if you think money's raining down on me, I wouldn't look like this and be out here sweating if I had a boatload of money. I would just hire somebody to do all the work because I have a full-time job. I have other obligations family-wise, and I love gardening. I love getting out there with my hands and then sharing what I learn, because a lot of times what you see on the YouTube videos is not as practical as they make it look. You're always going to see the best of everything online or social media or in the forums on Reddit or something. I want to share with you reality. But I also want to share with you the benefits of getting out in nature, hiking, camping. I don't do any product reviews and stuff because I'm not trying to make any money on YouTube. It's kind of a social activity. But I'm sharing the types of mistakes that I make, best practices, some misconceptions that people have, and that is setting me up to build a library of materials so that 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I have a book of work. Now, where did I get this idea from? Well, I'm actually related to a speechwriter who used to write for Abraham Lincoln, a nuclear physicist. I'm also related to the Ruffners that were in Congress, and they wrote all these books and stuff. A couple of them were pastors. And I just noticed, my grandfather on my mother's side actually contributed to the Rainbow Series book that the military used for government. They don't use it anymore, but for government security, computer security. But long story short, I noticed a lot of my relatives around me writing these materials, participating in trade associations, public speaking and stuff. And then I got involved with Dan Kennedy and what was called GKIC and learned a little bit about info marketing. So I know I gave you a high-level overview of why I'm doing the videos and why it's such a delight to answer your questions, but why some of you who've asked to hire me, I didn't say no, but I referred you to somebody else. So I don't want to disappoint you. Maybe you like the way I look and you want to work with me. You can't, because this is just a newsletter. This is the paid consultation. The proceeds go to a nonprofit organization, which then I go out and they buy seed and I go out and work. And then my schedule's just packed. So that's why if you do insist on hiring me, I give you some outrageous rate that basically nobody's going to pay. And I want to give you this disclosure because, like I said, my employer has freaked the hell out and claimed that I guess I'm running a business on the side. When I hire people, it's no different than hiring people to do stuff in your lawn. When I hire a landscaper, I talk about hiring contractors because I think that's a place that a lot of people make a mistake. They try to do it all themselves. It never gets done. And then they see the video and then they're like, oh my gosh, Justin's a general contractor. Justin's a landscaper. Justin's teaching people how to build wealth. No, I'm telling you how to improve property based on my experiences. And you know, I tell the stories about, you know, doing trails and scouts, and I tell you how I did my own land project. I am materially involved in the properties that I'm showing you. I'm not doing this for clients. So if there's been a misunderstanding, that's just the way it is. If you want a written response, because I do want to create written materials, I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. That's why I try to be verbose and complete. And then, of course, if you do ask questions, I will be more than happy to do a video. But there's no ad revenue, there's no sponsors, there's no back-end services anywhere. And I'm basically doing what I'm teaching, and that's why I can speak with confidence that you can do it too. There's nothing special about me. I'm just a regular guy. I sweat like anybody else. I'm probably gonna start smelling bad. But ultimately, I'm just a regular guy, and I happen to be documenting my experiences so that later down the line I can publish another book, I can create tutorials and training materials, I can participate in some community activities that we talk about, community garden. There's a lot of stuff I do that never shows up on video, and that ultimately I can build myself into an expert position. I'm actually studying for a naturalist certification. Like I mentioned, I have a permaculture design certification, and then when I'm a retired old fart, I'm gonna be doing this stuff all the time, because I love to get out in nature, and you should too. Once you get the fresh air, once you hear the bugs and you see the birds and you get all this excitement going, and you're fermenting food and you're making, I don't do a lot of food stuff on my channel, but if you'd like to see some of that, I'd be happy to record it. You know, turning tomatoes into tomato sauce and making bread, it's just an enhancement of your lifestyle. And so if I can do it, you can do it. I appreciate if you like and subscribe. 96% of the people who watch this channel are not subscribers. If you're a subscriber and you ask a question, you go to the top of the list. If you're on my email newsletter, you'll get notifications about different things that are going on. But no matter what, if you ask a question by visiting www.prosperityhomestead.org, go to the contact page, simply ask your question. I'll be more than happy to try to answer it in such a way that is clear, concise, and it helps you get started right now. Because waiting to do what I'm doing when it comes to the agricultural side or the homesteading side, or waiting to do what I'm doing by capturing your thoughts and journaling and writing articles, it'll never happen. And you'll miss out on the joy and excitement that I get from teaching, and that I get from having my ideas down on paper. And yes, if you ask the same question somebody asked last year, you will get whatever I sent them that's been revised for your specific situation. But again, I'll see you in the next episode. I notice it's getting pretty dark. I'm going to meditate a little bit before I go home and chill out with some dinner, because I've been working all day. It's a Saturday, by the way, in case my employer is watching. It's a Saturday. I've been working all day outside today, trying to get some exercise. My arm hurts, my head hurts. I feel like an old man already. But again, I'm building my future. I'm building a future that will be bright and healthy for my child, and I am building it for my community by participating in local nonprofits and participating in the education, because a lot of people don't know about this stuff, in the education of those who are interested in being more sustainable, food security, health sustainable, ecologically sound, and having a wonderful homestead or small farm. Again, I'll see you in the next video. I'm Justin Hitt from Prosperity Homestead.